afternoon, everybody. This is the Perchy here from the Perchy TV. I'm being kindly partnered with my mate Brian from Tottenham on Tour. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm okay. Dad's 70th birthday yesterday, so had a whole family celebrations.
Happy birthday to Dad.
Was incredible. Went for dinner at the Ivy. Incredible food there, incredible.
Yeah.
And then woke up this morning to see social media and everything ablaze with a very, very hard-hitting interview by Gary Neville in the overlap, and well done to them. But most importantly, very well done, DELE.
Bang on.
He should be incredibly proud of himself. People will know that my channel does a lot for mental health. I suffer. I'm going through some things right now, which I'll be fine talking about. But it takes a lot to do what he did. When we do it on YouTube, we're attracting a small audience compared to the reach that DELE has, and what he's just done. And also Everton Football Club, with the statement they've put out supporting him, is just incredible to see that now more and more people are opening up about something that is very, very, very important. It's a huge problem at the moment, mental health, and it's growing and growing. And the more people that talk out about it will help. And Dele Alli has just gone. He, like Gary Neville said at the end, I don't think he realises just how much he's helped people.
Agreed. Listen, I think, Brian, you've absolutely smashed it there with the sort of introduction and what we're talking about. Is exactly, and I want to talk about it today, guys. I think I'm sorry, it's not going to be this sort of, we're going to talk about football. I do, you know what? I genuinely want to talk about this because I put some stuff out, and this is not me portraying out to him. This is also myself. I've done a lot of digging and looking back, and people. I put out a tweet out and stuff, and I just tweeted just saying, this has got to be the moment now people change their habits on social media. And I get a load of reaction going, massive, so true, Perchy, you're spot on with that, blah, blah, blah. And I get people digging up tweets from 4 years ago going, oh, you didn't care much back then. That was exactly my point. I've looked back and I've gone, do you know what? Some of the stuff I've said out of anger because we've lost a game of football we shouldn't have done, and I've just tweeted something like, you effing this, that, and the other. Sat back and thought, do you know what? Can't be doing that on social media. And I'm not one of these. I'm not sitting there deleting tweets. I'm not. I own it. I've said stuff in the past. And Brian, you can attest to that. You said stuff in the past. You've gone, do you know what? On reflection, it's probably the wrong thing to do. What I was trying to do with this at the moment, and as I said, massive shout out to Dele Alli. I know you're not watching this. I mean, if you are, fair play. But if you're not watching this, but massive shout out to you, because what you've done is it's an eye opener. You've got people that have come out with horrible comments going, oh, he's just done this for attention, or he feels sorry. No. Why would what does him going through demons that he did when he was a kid benefit from anyone? Do you know what I mean? And it makes you think a lot about this. And we all have a part to play in this. Everyone, I hear the absolute horrendous line, and it winds me up. And Brian, I'd love to get your reaction on it. He gets paid loads of money. Why? He should be happy with that. It's not how it works. We're human.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, Perchy. There's been many athletes, movie stars, singer, or famous in their profession that have ended up killing themselves.
Of course.
For what I mean, money. We all say, oh, they're so rich, and money brings its own problems. Money brings its own problems. But what you're talking about social media, I mean, this is the thing. First of all, for me, it's not just people have got to change their ways on social media, especially Twitter.
Agreed.
Elon Musk and the previous owners need to take a long, hard look at themselves about putting regulations in about people that can access it. The abuse people get, I have said on many of my tweets, and people that either follow me because of my leave you out agenda, or don't follow me because of, or follow me just because of me, will know that I never ever get personal. I never, for this, because I've suffered with mental health and know where it leads, I don't get personal. I don't.
Agreed.
I make
Me,
sure.
neither do I.
When it comes to Levy, listen, this isn't about Levy, but people will know where I stand with this. But the abuse people I've seen on Twitter, the abuse that people get. I mean, Perchy, I'm just going to bring up something that you know I spoke to you about on my birthday. So
Yeah.
there's a guy on Twitter that goes for me, but all of a sudden an alias account was set up the day before my birthday. He had no followers, but tagged me in everything.
Yep.
Made horrible and vile abuse at my wife, who is overweight and has just had to have a major surgery because of a hormone and health imbalance. Said I should die. Sent gifts of me saying, "Go on, have a drink, you weak, pathetic man. Do the world a favour." Amongst other things, and thankfully, a lot of my close friends who I call family saw it, and dealt with it and got the guy knocked off Twitter. But that's just me. That's just me, and because another guy saying I'm anti-Semitic, I'm a proud Jewish guy, Jewish tattoos all over me, lived in Israel for 4 years, but because of where I stand. But the thing about it, with a lot of it, is it comes from the accounts that have fake names,
Yep,
and no pictures of themselves, whether it's a picture of, and I don't just mean this for Tottenham Hotspur fans, but we know it mainly because of
football
Tottenham
in
Hotspur
general.
fans.
Football fans in
But
general.
there's no faces. It's a Spurs player or manager or picture of the stadium or some kind of avatar that come out and say this poison, but they don't stand there. And like you said, the thing I can't stand is the people you put a tweet out even admitting your actions.
Yeah,
Jack, you're saying that I've done this wrong, but
I said,
there's
exactly.
people
People
that
who tweets
literally
5 years
like.
ago.
Well, you saw it with James Maddison, and you saw it with Matt Doherty to race 2. There's people that go back years and
Yeah.
years and years in people's
Do
social
you know
media.
what, Brian? Do you know what? I'm going to read it out. I'm going to read out the tweet what I put out because it genuinely means something. I said, "This is what I said. The DELE interview is an effing wake up call. Think before you tweet and think, and just before and just comment on their on their post. Yes, I'm talking about the faceless player AVI accounts. You think you are clever, you are not. I'm going to call out any faceless vile trolls. Words do hurt." And so I had a chat with a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention his name, obviously. He tagged in one of those pages, said, "I totally get what you're saying. I thought the same, but we're all guilty of jumping on it," and tagged a tweet I did 3 years ago. And I replied back going, and my repeat back to him, "Nice bloke, get on with him really well, by the way. He wasn't doing it to spite me. He was being genuine about it." And he said about this, I said, yes, I'm privy of it. I've done it. And there's some people, and then all I've had now is people tag me in tweets where I've called people a C-bomb, this, that, and the other. This isn't where I'm coming from with it. My point was being is I've said stuff when we've lost a game, we've lost to insert smaller club next to it, and we've lost to him. And I've gone, "You effing blah, blah, blah," on social media and gone and used that as my tool to let it out and stuff. I stand by what I say and I'll own it. If I feel like I've not gone over the top, yes, I feel like I've lost the plot. I've never got personal. It's all about football for me. It's always been about football. I own it, I stand by it, and I say, do you know what? Listen, we learn from it. Look at tweets in the last 2 years when I sort of started changing the ways I tweeted and stuff. I learned that actually, do you know what? I don't need to be hurling abuse on social media. Listen, people can screenshot tweets from years and years ago. I don't care. Do it. But you're proving my point. And then also, I've flipped it. Now I'm seeing the abuse for Jose Mourinho because of some of the stuff that DELE said in there. Bear in mind, by the way, DELE ALLI said Jose isn't to blame. I'm to blame for my actions, is what he said on there. Jose, he said, and then people go using it. I tweeted under a post, again, not going to mention names, just stating this is exactly what DELE ALLI was saying. Everything that you're now doing now on somebody else to protect him, you're doing exactly the same. Why can't we just stop being so hateful on social media? But the problem is, Brian, what happens, and you're right, people with accounts that don't have any And there was another tweet, and again, I'm going to bring up. Sorry, apologies. I'm not here just talking about my thing. There was someone that basically said that Dele Alli he's just doing this now for sympathy. That was the premier. Again, not going to tell you who it was. This is it. And I went, effing hell, what a dangerous take. Dele was abused at the age of 6, but because it was 20 years ago, he shouldn't talk about it now. This is exactly what's wrong with society. No name, no face, no accountability. I bet you wouldn't say this stuff if your face and your name was posted on there as well. I'm sorry for going on, and I apologize to everyone in the chat as well. I do genuinely apologize. I'm not trying to rant about this, but as a society, we need to change. And and do you know what? And I'm going to say this now, and people will hate me for it. Elias is actually right here on this one. He put it in there. I've just seen it, just stating about Sol Campbell. We're also accountable for some of the stuff we say about him. I'm not justifying it, but we can't be hypocrites and start saying this about Dele Alli, but then start singing "We want somebody to die." It's equally as bad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not sitting there saying what Sol Campbell did was wrong. I don't sing it anymore. Yeah, I may have tweeted about it 4 years ago. Another one that someone pulled up on. Yeah, I did. I was younger back then. I was 25. I was a bit younger. Now I feel like I've matured and grown up a little bit more. But yeah.
Yeah, well, anyway, put it this way. I've never sung Jelly and Ice Cream. I'm not going to finish the rest for either Levy or Sol Campbell, and I never will.
Mm-hmm.
What this show is about has got nothing to do with Sol Campbell. Agreed. Absolutely fucking nothing to do with him. And I'm sorry for swearing. It's right. Got to the point now where this is where we are as a society right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking with a mental, like I said, I'm going through some serious mental health issues myself right now, and I'm not doing this because of people that will know me, and the incredible family support me. But what you're now bringing in, what Sol Campbell did by leaving Spurs to go to Arsenal, to Dele being abused.
Of course,
they're apples and oranges.
Of course,
and there is nothing. There's the Jelly and Ice Cream song, and there was another song that was sung that said he had an illness, which I never sang. But it's not. You don't come on here and start talking about mental health issues and whatnot. What I don't even really want to talk about what Sol did is treacherous. It's treason, in my opinion. But that's that. It's way over there. No one even speaking about him right now. They're talking about Dele Alli.
Exactly.
And mental health.
And do you know what? What we need to do? Do you know what? You are absolutely spot on. By the way, you are spot on there. Exactly what I'm going to say. And this is the main part. What I am going to say here. We need to protect these players. These young kids with a lot of money. In the space of 6 months, what have we seen, Brian? We've seen the likes of Harry Toffolo's now just being charged by the FA for gambling. Ivan Toney. Now Dele Alli's coming out. These are young lads who are basically being thrusted into the spotlight with a load of money. And now they're having to deal with stuff in the public eye. Do you know what I mean? We have a duty of care to these players. People will go, oh, but they earn loads of money. Who cares? That doesn't control by money. Your mentality doesn't, and we need to, as a society, the FA, do you know what the FA would be? They've lost a lot of credit in my bank recently, but they could earn a lot of credit in the bank if they came out and said that we are going to put X amount of money into player mental well-being, players' mental well-being, support these football players. Yes, they get paid loads of money, but these are kids, by the way. These are young lads, younger than me and you, by the way. These lads are.
Well, you look at it as well, Perchy. When you look at the FA, their first warning shot, in my memory, should have been when Justin Fashanu hung himself.
Yeah, agreed.
Obviously, for being, it came out that he was gay and he couldn't deal with everything going on. You look at players like Paul Gascoigne, with alcohol and everything that followed him, should have been dealt with. Gary Speed, Gary Speed. You could go on and on and on and on with players just in England. I'm talking about English players here, not not foreign players that have come in and had issues settling in or whatever. This is why, since I've suffered with mental health, and I've told people I was in a mental health unit in 2004. I've been seeing counsellors since the late 90s. I'm still seeing. I've had to sign up to see him again. I've had to see him for addiction. I've had to see him for bereavement. I've had to see him for anger. I've had to see him for so many different things and had to struggle so much. But it's why myself and my channel and other channels like you and Savage just did a stream on it as well, an incredible stream.
Massive shout, by the way. That was a great, well done.
It's
Him,
people that are coming out and talking about it, that helps. Now, like I said, the people that when we do it, we have a small audience, but when you see it, and there's a few things that DELE said, and I pick up on them because of my history, my journey. Within the very first 2 sentences he says, I realised it's time I needed help. That is the only time people can tell you till they're blue in their face. My parents tried to get me to stop. My friends tried to get me to stop drinking on many occasions. And I tried to do it to shut them up. And the longest I went was 2 weeks. But when I said, you know what, that's it, I can't do it anymore. There's no point telling someone if they don't. You can keep telling people, but if they don't listen,
of course.
So DELE saying what he said, that he realised now was the time. You have no idea the amount of courage that takes to do it yourself and hit that rock bottom, hit that moment where you're like, right, that's it, I need help. But then to come out and, like he said, the most disgusting thing about that whole interview, yes, the abuse and everything was bad, was at the beginning of that interview when he said, I needed to come out now before the media, because my media team were getting, and his agents and his whatever, his publicist or whatever he has, his team were getting messages going, we know he was in rehab, we know where he was, we're going to break it. And he said at the very beginning, I need to come out and tell my truth before the toxic. And I tell you what, I live in Canada, as people know, and I can't wait to get back. The British press here are the most vile,
agreed,
disgusting.
Do you know what I find absolutely incredible, by the way? After everything that people watch, by the way, have you seen some of the titles from the British media? Absolutely disgusting. And I'm not going to read them out because I'm not going to give them the airtime for it. They don't deserve it. Clickbaity crap. This is, and do you know what makes it worse? This is everything, absolutely everything DELE ALLI said. He said it, and you've gone and done exactly what he said. And I want to say one thing, by the way, and this is also for everyone in the chat. By the way, this is a great point. Yesterday came out was a documentary. Today, look what DELE ALLI said about Eric Dyer. We don't like him as a football player. We think he needs to go. He should have moved on a long time ago. I want to say massive shout out to Eric Dyer because his name was prominent. Him and Harry Kane was prominent in that conversation with Gary Neville. He said, Eric's one of my best mates. He's helped me through so much. He's helped me do this, that, and the other. He's looked after me. But bear in mind, this is the same guy, by the way, that got absolute dog's abuse yesterday. Listen, by the way, I think the interview and the documentary about Eric Dyer is poorly judged by the club. It's nothing on him as a player. But this is exactly where we need to, as a society. This isn't just football. We're a subsection of society. And then the Tottenham bit is another little subsection of that section. As a society, we need to be better people. We've been raised, and the media and the thing, social media has made us be so explosive. For example, I've noticed with people will say the most outrageous things. And I've said this before. I've said this to you a lot on and off stream, by the way. Nowadays, it's about being as outlandish and outrageous as possible, just so you can get likes, comments, and stuff. You have to say the most maddest thing. And I said, sometimes the mad stuff can be quite harmless. Sometimes it's very, very harmless, by the way. Very harmless, but some's very harmful. The harmless stuff can be something like on the sense of, I don't know, I think Messi's crap. Now, that is an absolute stupid statement. But if I said that on stream and it was spread around everywhere, it is made into something it's not. Completely made into something it's not. Why can't we, as in society now, start being nicer people? And I said this, I just said this a moment ago. Sorry to sort of repeat myself. Apologies. Yeah. I'm seeing now, we're now the DELE ALLI things come out. Now people are going, okay, I need to attack this person because this person made DELE ALLI feel bad. You're doing exactly what DELE was saying in those interviews. In that interview, you're saying doing exactly what he was saying. He's saying about the vitriol and stuff.
You know,
society be better though.
You know what, Perchy? What people got to kind of separate as well is football is a very passionate and emotional game. My man Jan Vertonghen, who I love dearly, and the Spurs players that have come out have been, and footballers in general, have been incredible. But what I will say, you got to remember, football is a passionate and emotional game, and after a defeat or after someone's had a bad performance, as a football fan, you can criticise the player's performance. Yeah. You can say he's turned out shit. Where people are getting this twisted is, if you think, we'll use DELE ALLI for example right now. Sure. If you just put DELE had a shit game, or DELE was what's going on with DELE ALLI won't see that unless it gets retweeted a billion times and somehow gets. It's when people at the players and direct message.
Yeah.
And email. If you go at DELE official, wake the fuck up, what the hell are you doing, blah, 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 his publicist or his social media team or even him is going to see it because you've atted him. It goes to him. Whether he sees it because he gets hundreds, or any player gets hundreds and thousands of messages, you're going to say, listen, we'll give it up. Davinson Sanchez, who I went mad at the fans when he got booed off against. You can say Davinson had a bad game. He did. But don't put at Davinson Sanchez, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if people know this, but I do, and I know this firsthand. Not from him, but from the reason Sanchez was like that, I was crying at the game, was, I don't know if people know, but his entire family had flown over from Colombia to see him.
Yeah.
At that game. They were there. And it was the first time, I think, since COVID that they'd come to England to watch Davinson. And he had that match. Emerson's been through it recently. We all know players that we've put down. I've left out another Spurs player recently. Aaron Lennon has come out.
Yeah, massive shout. Yeah, very good shout.
Aaron Lennon's come out. And then do you know what? Then you've got to look at it and say, what are Tottenham Hotspur doing about this? And I mean this about other Premier League clubs as well. All Premier League clubs can do it, but obviously Tottenham is very close to everyone's hearts. When you've had Paul Robinson has come out about it as well. There's been quite a few in Tottenham. I think in light of DELE, they have to look at this in all, not just the Premier League clubs, but the Premier League, the FA, UEFA, FIFA. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done because these players aren't being protected. And the fact that he's taking sleeping pills and sometimes on his day off, so he was saying he was taking them as early as 11 o'clock just to get away from it, just goes to show this is something that it's DELE doing this and speaking about this once again has opened this up for it to be right now. Football doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck if these centre backs come before we go on tour or not. The main thing for me, mental health is over Spurs for me, and my history with it. This needs to be looked into as a society, but certainly as football.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I just want to say, Tyree, big shout out to you, by the way. Thank you so much for the super chat. Big up, fellas. Proud of DELE. Agreed. Footballers are very influential. I really hope this helps other men understand that they don't need to suffer in silence. Do you know what? I absolutely agree 1,001% on this right now. 1,001%. If this sets up that we, as men, we can kind of change the way we are as people, and start talking about it. We've all been there. I have. Brian, you've told me before on and off stream about certain situations with yourself. We talk about it all the time. Guys, as a community, and obviously I know there are some women in here, and much love to you. This also talks to you guys, you girls as well. Talk about it. If you're suffering, chat. I've always said to people, if you want to reach out to me, at me on Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram at the Perchy TV. I'm here to talk. Happy to talk. I'd happily set one of these StreamYards up, not go live and just have a chat with anyone if you want to. It's part of it. Help each other out. I help as many people. I'll try and help people out anytime. If you've got me on Twitter as well, message me on Twitter. Happily help anyone. And it's so true. Seriously, I'm 100% freedom of speech, but let's be sensible. Yeah, agreed. But do you know what? There's freedom of speech, but there's no freedom of lack of consequences. If you say, you can say whatever you want. I've always stood by this, Brian. You can say whatever you want. But if you say something I don't like, I have equally 100% right to call you out on it.
Of course.
It's the same thing. Freedom, this is what people miss on it. You have everyone's got freedom of speech. But you're not freedom of lack of consequences. Equal, you can say whatever, but there'll be consequence if you say certain things. Always say that. Yeah. Clickbaiting frenzy. So true. Phil. That's the problem. We're in a society that clicks mean something now. Clicks are more important than anything else. Yeah, exactly. It's the way society is. People like DELE can lead the way of improving the future. I pride myself on giving people a safe space to relax horrible words. My mental health took a battering this year. I'm there for exactly. Guys, go over and subscribe to the Coffee Company, by the way. It's one of the most chilled out, stress-free streams I ever get to. We all go on there and we all just have a chin wag about anything. And we try not to be so vitriolic. I'm just yeah, big up, Jamie. I hope you're well, mate. I hope you're doing well. The quietest where Yuri carries the most. DELE was step one of recovery. Yeah, listen, do you know what I would love the most, by the way? I would love to see DELE ALLI back in the England team. Not right now, because for me, you only get in due to meritocracy. You get in because you deserve it. But what I would love in a year and a half, 2 years, DELE ALLI starts being the DELE ALLI that we saw at Spurs, and he does it for Everton or insert whatever club he goes to in the future. I would love it. What a redemption story that would be for DELE ALLI to be back in the England setup. What a moment that would be. Because do you know what? DELE ALLI's got the talent. This is a talented young lad. You don't just forget to do the stuff he did when he was at Spurs. You don't forget it. He's talented. He obviously was going through stuff. And I would absolutely love to see DELE ALLI bounce back. I'll be honest, I don't normally talk about other football players like that, but for him, I would love it. And do you know what? He's got good people around him now. And that's the key thing. He clearly didn't have good people around him at the time. And I'm so proud of him for coming out. Yeah, Darren, 100%. Hate. People get offended over stupid things nowadays. Yeah, agreed as well. Big up, Talkable. Big up, Cole. Hope you're doing well, mate. I hope you're well.
I think what you've got to look at, sorry, Jack, just very quickly on here, is also you look at this, and there's a lot of people in here that I speak to about mental health.
Yeah.
And I've tried to help and spoken with, and obviously I need help at the moment, and I'm seeking the right help, and I'm actually going to go into that. I'm doing another mental health video for Tottenham on tour, just myself talking about a lot of things, which will come out hopefully later today. I think I need to, in light of DELE, show some kind of solidarity with him, and if he's speaking out like he has, I'm never afraid to do it, but I think it's time to show what an impact he's had, so I'll be doing that later. I might do it with Ben as well, because I might get quite emotional, and at least Ben can keep me in check. I think what you've got to look at as well. Yeah, I think what you've got to look at as well is Everton Football Club right now. We've seen what their fans are doing, like we're trying to do with the ownership. But it just goes to show what people like Sean Dyche and football people around him have done, because he would have had to go to Sean Dyche to talk about this.
Well, he said it at the end of the interview, didn't he? He said, I've spoken to the boss, and he's fully behind me.
Yeah,
I may have slightly misquoted in the sense, but it was on that breach. And I tell you what, Sean Dyche is exactly the right manager for Dele Alli right now. He needs a bit of hard. He's a sore manager that put his arm around him, but he'll also give him the hard truths and say, no, Dele, under me, you work hard, and we will be working hard. I will help you and support you in every single capacity. But you're going to work. You're going to then replicate it by showing me that you are the man that you are, and that's a key point for me. I just want to I just wanted to flow through these quickly. There are some normally players that play midweek, need sleeping pills, and then to sleep, to then be able to get up early for work. No, listen. When I said about football players, I'm talking about from top to bottom. By the way, this isn't just Premier League, Championship. This is all the way down the pyramid. As a society, do you know what? Football is the biggest sport in this country. I say here, it's the same here in Spain. But we don't care enough about our players. Do you know what? We care about the players when they're doing well. And then as soon as they're crap, we throw them aside and then they're nothing. And then what we say to these young lads, these are young lads, by the way, retiring at the ages of 33. When I say young, in football terms they're not, but in life they are. And at the ages of 33, 34, we shove them aside and go, get on with your life. For me, there needs to be so much more work for these lads. Definitely. I mean, so much about it.
Can I just very quickly, Perchy, when they were just talking about sleeping pills, it comes to a point with Paul Gascoigne actually told this story when he was at Middlesbrough with Paul Merson. They used to play a game with Paul Merson, Gazza, Jimmy Five Bellies, and someone else. Can't remember the other person, but you can check this. Gazza's spoken about this on interviews, where they used to have huge bets on how many bottles of wine and sleeping pills they could take, and the last one that fell asleep took the money.
Yeah,
that's it's got to look in. What you got to remember, Dele Alli said as well. The doctors were actually prescribing Dele Alli the right amount for what should have been before a match. But when you become an addict or when you have these issues, you will find it whatever way you can.
Of course.
And when you have the wealth that he has, people, believe me, when you get to that kind, the drug dealers or the people will try and get to him, or he will know people that know people, and you just got to listen to his background at Milton Keynes with his mum. And do you know what? Again, big up to Dele Alli for not saying. He could have easily blamed his mum for saying, "Why were you an alcoholic? Why were you not looking after me? Why were you doing this? Why are you doing that?" The guy was being hung off a bridge at 11 years old. He said he had a key at 7 years old.
When he was talking about his childhood, I'll be honest, I had a tear in my eye. I absolutely felt so bad for the kid. And when I say the kid, I'm talking about the kid Dele Alli, not the football player Dele Alli. This is a kid that was abused at 6, was smoking at 7, was dealing drugs at 8, selling drugs at 8, hung over by he also said by a man. It wasn't another kid doing it, a man hanging over a bridge at the age of 11.
Yeah.
And people are trying to tell me that, oh, it happened in the past, he should just get over it. No, this may have been the first time that he's actually properly dealt with it and said things how it is. And do you know what? I'm not a massive fan of Gary Neville. Fair play to him. Because do you know what Gary Neville did? Gary Neville could have sat there and probed stuff. He didn't. He basically just said, Dele, this is your space. You say what much as you want or as little as you want. I'm not going to press you for stuff. And do you know what? Massive shout out to Gary Neville. Because
I'm a huge fan of his. I think his media.
I've always been a bit skeptical with Gary Neville and stuff, and I've called him out on certain things. I like it as a player, amazing, but I think there's certain things I've called him out on and certain things. But
I've loved him on Sky.
But on this moment, there's full credit to the bloke, because do you know what? He could have been like anyone else and gone, oh, so you did that at 7. Did you do anything else? Did you do that? Did you do that? Did you do that? No, he just went, do you know what, Dele? If you want to say it, then you say it. If you don't want to say it, it's your right to. And just to sort of go on to the question from what Mark said, this is James, do they drug test with the Premier League clubs? They do. But the drugs that Dele was taking were normal prescription pills. So he was taking sleeping tablets. He was taking X, Y, and Z. So do you know what I mean? So, yeah, he would be getting drug tested, but he would be clear because all that would be in his system was sleeping tablets. You don't get tested on that stuff, because why would you? Players have to take them. And he made a great point. He said the reason why players get addicted to them is because they have to take them because of the adrenaline that rushes through your body when you're a football player. You can't sleep. He said you'll train, you'll have to sleep because you've got a football match the next day. He said players have to take them just so they can get a full 8 hours sleep. But he said the problem is they're addictive, as most things are in society.
It's not just it's addictive, Jack. I'll tell you now, with my personal experiences during my mental health, during my rehab with alcohol, I was put on sleeping pills because my sleep was so erratic. Because with my drinking before I gave up, I literally woke up at whatever time in the morning it was, drank until I had enough, drunk till I literally passed out with a drink in my hand. I woke up the next whenever, thought I'd pissed myself, but it weren't piss. It was, or sometimes it may have been, but it's because I tipped the drink that I was drinking over me and start again. So they put me on sleeping pills to try and get me into a regular kind of sleep pattern. But what happens with them when you're taking them regularly, your body is a very, very clever a clever piece of kit. As soon as your body realizes, okay, you're taking sleeping tablets, this is what it's doing, it wakes up and you become resistant to it. So you try another one, or a different form of sleeping pill that may be stronger or maybe different ingredients, and your body wakes up. And then at one point I was having to take what was one sleeping pill that would knock me out immediately. I was having to take 3 or 4 to get me to sleep. But then once you take 3 or 4 and you get used to 3 or 4, you need to take more than 3, and it just keeps. They're so dangerous. I refuse to take any sleeping pills anymore, even with my sleep being as horribly erratic as it is. It's not because I think I'll get addicted again. I just know where this will lead. So sleeping pills are very, very addictive. Very addictive.
Of course, and that's the problem and what do you know what he did mention, which was telling? He said, this isn't just me. This happens this is in everyone. He says lots of players are.
Yep.
And bear in mind, I heard about this sleeping pill thing a long time ago. Someone that knew someone that said that there is a lot more behind the scenes with Dele Alli, not just him just being not playing well and stuff. And big up Mia, by the way. Much love. I know you wanted to come on, but I wanted just to keep this me and Brian just. You know. I hope you don't take it personally. It's definitely not. You're always welcome on my show. We just wanted it to be a bit slower, calmer, and stuff. Not have loads of people on, but people need to be aware of their actions. That the people at first and foremost. The way we treat others is the reflection of on the faceless social media era. So true. What we have now in society, what we've got now is people, the anonymity in people, allowing people to be abusive for the sake of being abusive. But what it is, Mia, is these people that are doing it equally have problems. The people they're doing it because they want attention. We're we're in the era of attention. We need to be noticed in society. Some people can't seem to just go on with stuff and just get on with life. And we need to learn as a society again how to be more humane to people. And listen, much love. Thank you so much for the donation, Mia. Every penny of that is going to the charity.
I just got to add on to Mia's great comment as well. What you got to remember as well is, and it's happened to me a lot, because we now do this stuff on YouTube, because to certain sections of this community we're recognisable if we're at Tottenham or whatever, or stopped in the street, whatever, and especially because of all the work I've done with We Are Tottenham TV, obviously the mothership. When anything happens on Twitter, leave you in, leave you out, I become a beacon for abuse.
Agreed.
Because I put myself out there, because I am there at the protest, so Ben, I'll be in touch with you, brother. So this is what happens when you start doing this, and me as included, and anyone that does YouTube. What happens is when you start building your channel up, when you start, love you too, Phil, brother. When you start building yourself up, whether it's 1,000 subscribers, 500 subscribers, 6,000, 12,000, whatever, and you're quite outspoken, and you're regularly available to be seen on either YouTube or social media, these people will make a beeline for you. So
Yeah.
you got to remember, Perchy, you know a lot of the Levy Out family that we stand with and
Yeah.
that I stand with. Whether they do social media or not, I'm not going into. But because I do, the second anything happens, the abuse and everything that comes my way personally is
Yeah.
just shocking. It's shocking, and
I've
this
seen
is
it
just
firsthand, mate. You know I have. And
yeah, exactly.
I've called it out as I've seen it. And I've
Of
called people
course.
out.
But this is the thing. This is what happens. Um, you become someone they can reach, and then because you said it, other people join in, and this is where it's got to stop. Because I've said to
Yeah.
these people, listen, they give
I
it,
agree.
they make numbers up, they say their stuff, and I'm like, come over and talk to us, and I do mean talk, not, and then of course nowhere to be seen, because that means they'd have to reveal themselves. So
Yeah, agreed.
again, this comes down to we're all talking about this, but what's got to happen is people that own social media companies need to have a real big look at their rules and regulations and say we're not going to accept this anymore,
Agreed.
because it's getting to the point now where people we don't even know are killing themselves because of online abuse, or are putting themselves into rehab facilities, or are really struggling mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. Right now, with me, I'll be open. It's all of it for me right now. All of the above that I just mentioned, and it's really tough. But thankfully, I have an incredible network behind me and around me, so I can get somewhat the support I need, somewhat help. Obviously, I go to the right medical place to get help, or addiction place to get support. But there's lots of people that don't have the support network or built up the support network I have. So
Yeah.
when this does happen, they hide in a room. They put their phone away because they don't want. They're scared who's going to ring. They don't want to answer the door in case who's at the door. They don't want to go on the streets in case people. They think that this is a huge issue, a huge issue, and social media has had a. I mean, I suffered with mental health and went into hospital before social media was even a thing in 2004 when I went into the mental health unit, and social media weren't even a thing then, so it weren't as rife as it is right now. Right now, social media is for this kind of. It's a huge part of why mental health is a massive thing right now,
Agreed.
because of these accounts, and these companies need to sort it out.
Yeah. And no, and Brian, do you know what? Everything you said spot on, and do you know what? You don't need me to say it now. I say it to you on and off
Yep,
camera.
I
I respect you. You're like family to me. Me and you, we chat
ditto.
all the time about, even it's just nonsensical and just rubbish crap. We chat about all that line. We debate on here about football, and we keep it football. We always try to keep it football. When people start getting a bit aggy, it's just like, come on. And it is a key point here. When people just need to just, you know what? People need to stop being conditioned into just going, do you know what? I'm just going to do it because I can get away with it. Whether you get away with it or you don't get away with it, why do you need to be spreading hate? Why do people need to be so hateful in society? Listen, we can all have opinions. And the one thing I do want to say to people, the other thing is this also doesn't go the other way and go, just because I've been critical of somebody, let's just say, I don't know, I don't think Højbjerg is a great football player. Just a great example. I don't think he's a great football player. That's not hate. That's just criticism. As a person, seems like a really lovely bloke, by the way. Absolutely lovely bloke. Everyone I see him in it as a bloke. He seems like a really lovely bloke. This when I say people like, I think Ndombele is not very good at it as well. Another one, everyone goes, that doesn't mean if there's some sort of bias or unconscious bias gets thrown in. No, I just don't think he's a great football player. Again, it can't be. He's not a bad bloke. This is where people need to remember when we talk about this. It doesn't mean I can't. I'm not saying you can't be critical. And listen, I've lost my rag after a game. I've gone, get every single one of these crap players out of the football club. Yeah, I've lost my rag because we've lost a game of football that we shouldn't have lost. I've lost my rag. But that's not me abusing people. And you said it earlier, and it was a key point. It's when people start DMing players with black players with the monkey emojis. What is wrong with people? I sit back and I go, do you know what? I've got so angry after a football match. I've never once gone, do you know what? I need to racially abuse someone, or I need to basically wish harm on an individual or a player or their family. Like, how messed up do you have? And these people have mental health issues as well, by the way, that are doing it. Because you don't do it as a normal, you're not doing it because you're doing it because you're doing it because you want attention. You want that player to respond. And this is it. What people want is they want that player to respond. So they go as aggressive and as angry as possible so they get a response, because they feel like they've won if they got a response. Because that's the dopamine effect. You get your dopamine from it. Oh my God. I don't know. Davinson Sanchez replied to my tweet. What was your tweet? Oh, you're an effing this, blah, 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 blah. At you, I hope you die, blah, 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 blah. Like, that's not good. Like, you need to be learning from it. And I just want people just to be a bit more calmer on social media. Listen, I've got no problem. People can find tweets from 2021, 2019. I found someone posted something about 2018, by the way, 5-6 years ago. Great. I have no problem. Do that. I've changed as a person. I've tried to grow up on social media and go, do you know what? I don't need to be so angry. Nothing also I've said on that has ever been personal to a player. Ever been personal. That was what I wanted to say, because I just think society needs to improve. We're never going to get better in society otherwise.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Let me see. We're going to go for another sort of 8 more minutes and stuff. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you want us to talk about this. We'll try and keep it on this same subject now for the end of it. This is what I mean. Idiots like this. Can I just say, and Ben, feel free to block this guy straight away. Block this guy straight away. Who's this guy? What has my sexuality got to do with anything? I'm not, by the way, but it's got nothing to do with the conversation. I want you gone. I don't need crap like this. Who cares about my sexuality, Brian's sexuality?
Ben, don't block him just yet. Don't block him just yet, because I want him to hear this.
Okay.
It's things like this what we just spoke about, with a fake name.
Yep. Of
no
course.
Avatar. No mixing with the community, like this wonderful chat like we have, like when we did our mental health chat. And people think they can come in and put in a comment like that and just be big and clever, because they're sitting there by themselves now, just laughing at themselves, thinking that they're funny, thinking that they're clever. What has anyone's sexuality got to do with it? I spoke about this at the beginning, saying we have a player like Justin Fashanu, who killed himself because he was worried about bringing out his sexuality. Mia brought up in this comment the fact that it's 2023 and no openly gay player in the Premier. Whether there is one or isn't one, it is neither here nor there. But I know a couple of players have come out recently. Yeah. What the hell has anything got to do? We're talking about mental health right here, and sexuality right now is something that is now spoken about a lot more openly and a lot more acceptable. I'll openly admit, when it first came out and I was growing up in the 80s, I was very, very young. I was dead against it. Like, now it's 22. For years, not just because it's 2020, for years I've been that is a personal choice, an absolute personal choice that does not affect me in the slightest. Even if my family came out and said, one of my family members, my nephews or my niece turned out and said they were gay. Fair play, well done on you coming out, and I'll stand by you, I'll stand with you. So people that come and put these stupid, bitchy little comments, you're just a prat.
Yourself on there for putting that.
You're just a prat. If you want to come on these streams and think you're a clever man or woman or whoever you are, well, you're the sad one, my friend. You're the idiot here.
Exactly, you're the idiot here. And do you know what? Every single person in here, barring you, has been brilliant in this chat, by the way. And I want to say a massive shout out to everyone in here. Listen, we're here to talk about it. Listen, we've all gone through stuff. But you've ruined, and listen, you haven't ruined the stream, because actually, do you know what? This has been a brilliant stream. I've really loved it talking with you, Brian, about it, but you've come in and tried to just be an idiot. Like, you're just an idiot. Like, and that's what it is. And listen, And people always criticize Sava for doing it. And I respect Sava for calling out idiots for that, what they are. They're idiots. If you're going to be rude and absolutely disgusting, get out of my stream. I don't need your subscription. I don't need you in my channel because you're just spreading unnecessary crap.
Perchy, one thing I will say to wrap this up, sorry, brother. One thing I will say to wrap this little segment about that twat is 10, 15 years ago, you have 102 or 3 people in this chat. 10, 15 years ago, it would be the other way around, where hundreds of people or 100 people would be going, oh my God, mental health is such a flimsy, stupid excuse, blah, 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 and criticising. Well, it shows where the world is going right now, and the work people that do stuff for mental health or equality or whatever in life has changed. Because like you said, out of the however many are in your chat now, there's been one idiot, as opposed to 10 years ago when it would have been the other way around.
99%, because we've had fluctuated between 90 to 110 people, so call it 100. So let's call it 100 people in here, one idiot. And as I said, 99% of society is absolutely fine. That 1% needs to grow up. And I've said it, and I'll say it all along. It's 99 with 1. 99 plus 1. 99% of you guys have been amazing. It's been lovely. Do you know what? I've actually really enjoyed it because it's a chat we decide. Big up single parent theory, by the way. Massive shout out to you. You raise an excellent point, Perchy, but to a person who is down, any criticism can be catalyst to their further deterioration. I hope we as a society can learn, be more respectful, and be understanding. Agreed. And listen, and this is what I said. This was exactly what I said earlier. And I did a bit of reflecting on social media, and I did it on social media. It's probably a bad idea because then you just get idiots everywhere. But people just trying to find, oh, well, you're a hypocrite. No. It's because I've learned. I'm learning. As an individual, we grow and we learn. I was terrible before. I used to just go, oh, insert player, you're a fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. You missed a penalty, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't need it anymore, does it? Let's just think about what we say online. But the key point, what we're saying here, I'm going to SPT. I love the SPT. I love the analogy on it. It's great. That what we need to do, it's using social media as your venting platform, and that's what I've always used it as. I always used it just to vent out my frustration and then moved on. I then didn't bring it home, if that makes sense. I didn't bring my frustration home. I'd use social media, go rah 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 rah. There we go. I've calmed down. I've let it all out, and I'll move on with life. But you make a great point. Start seeing it. We start seeing all the anger and the hate tweets. It's when it becomes personal. Listen. Players are in an industry right now that understand that they're going to be called out for their performances. Doesn't make it hate. It's when it becomes hateful, unnecessary, and nasty. That's when it crosses the line. When you start commenting on a player posting saying, sorry, guys, apologies for a bad game from me. I had a terrible game. You go, you're an effing cunt. You're this, you're that. No need for it, is it? Come on. As a society, we're just so hateful at the moment. We're going to skip on because we're going to go in a couple of minutes. Guys, smash the likes off if you're in here, guys. Let's spread it. I want to see if we can get this lights out. Let's spread this positive message. And as I always say, guys, all this money is going to the charity tomorrow. We're going live tomorrow, and Mr. Daigle will be on. I think you said you're going to make it Saturday. Yeah. No, I mean, to put a nice smile on people. I mean, like I said, if I can do anything, I'll be on Friday night because I'm going to say a sentence that I guarantee you'll never ever hear anyone else ever say in their life. As I said at the beginning of the stream, it was my dad's 70th birthday yesterday. So Saturday early morning, we're getting up early because me, my mum, my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, and the 5 kids are going to celebrate my dad's 70th birthday at Peppa Pig World. So if you ever hear the word 70th, have an absolute great time.
Yeah,
mate.
But if you ever heard the word 70th birthday, Peppa Pig World in the same sentence again,
you're going to have an absolute worldie of the day.
So yeah,
I'll be listening. Pictures of you, by the way. I want you to keep up to date. Like when you're in a queue, I want you to come onto the stream. Is it tomorrow you're going?
No, we're going Saturday morning, and we're staying over.
So I'm expecting you during Saturday when you're in a queue for a ride. I want you just to pop into the chat, just going, Perchy, queuing up for this ride. I want to see it from you when I'm still going.
I'll send you pictures you can put on WhatsApp of me on the rides.
That would be brilliant. I'd love that.
Awesome. So that'll be fun. 70th birthday, Peppa Pig World. I told you would never hear that sentence before.
Yeah. Oh, what a time. Big up Jim, Spurs Talk Die, Perchy and Brian, great stream. Thank you so much. Listen, DELE ALLI made a great point. This is all for him, by the way. This is all about spreading his message and making sure people, do you know what? I will say to people, go and watch it. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it, guys. I'm assuming most of you have all seen it and stuff. But if you haven't, I urge you to go and watch it. Just go over there. It's 45 minutes, and it genuinely is worth listening to. It's one of the best interviews of a player I've seen in a long time because he spoke so eloquently. For a young lad, he spoke so well. And when I saw Gary Neville cry, that hit me. I was like, well, even Gary Neville, Mr. like Terrier, Gary Neville is in tears here.
I think again, what you got to highlight on that is again, not only well done, DELE, and super well done. Like literally, I am so proud of that man. And what you got to remember is again, the reason he's come out. He said it was very, very soon after coming out of rehab. He'd only been out 3 weeks. He would have wanted more time to process it, but he couldn't because of the British media. I mean, we know what's going on with a certain BBC guy right now. Obviously, look how that manifested within days, and the abuse. So Dele Alli wanted to get in very, very quickly before the media got to him again. I mean, Paul Gascoigne. I don't know if people will know my love of Paul Gascoigne. I can tell you a lot about Paul Gascoigne and what he went through, but what you got to remember, what the Sun and the Mirror did to him as well, is during his time, they used to put empty bottles of whiskey and vodka outside his house and put a note in one of the bottles.
Mad.
And then ring his bell and walk off, and then he'd open the door, reach out for that note that was in the bottle. Click, 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 click. Goes out, empty bottles. This is what the British media do. They are the ragtops.
Yep,
they are vile. We know what happened with Hillsborough. The British press are some of the most vile people on this planet when it comes to journalism. And I'm talking about the red tops. So
yeah, of course. Listen, I think. Do you know what? I've said this along. Stop reading this crap. And the problem is, do you know what? And it's a nasty spiral. Journalist makes a clickbaity title. Person reads it. Circle back again. They do it again. If we break that circle and stop reading this crap, maybe as a society we might start getting better. Because the thing is if we stop reading their stuff, it won't come out. I don't read news and stuff. I don't. I try and get a lot of my stuff, and I take a lot of it on board from all different angles. So listen, I think we could have gone on for another hour or so, and maybe even longer. But I have to go. I've got work to do. And it's funny, isn't it? It's like everyone knows that my show's only an hour because we've lost 15 viewers already. I love it. It's like you guys know that we're going to be wrapping up very shortly because you know it's the hour. But I've got work to do and I've got loads to do. But I want to say, genuine, massive shout out to you, Brian. Thank you so much for coming on. Shout out to DELE. Shout out to Gary Neville. Shout out, and do you know what? Shout out to Everton. But shout out to every single person that has shown a bit of love today. Let's not just do it today because Dele Alli's come out and said it. Try and think. The only message I'll say to you guys, think about what you say in YouTube chats, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Before you hit send, think about it. Would you like somebody else to say what you're going to say to them? Listen, if that's the only thing that you get from this show, then please listen to that. If that's the only thing, before you hit that send button, go, do you know what? I don't want someone talking to me like that. That's all I'm going to say. Football players are human. Just like me, Brian, and every single one of you. We're all human. We all do it. And listen, on that note, guys, smash the likes. Send it. Share this all round. I'd like everyone to watch this. Just to share the message out. And as I said, tomorrow, guys, charity stream starts. There'll be no 12 o'clock show. We start at 5 UK, 6 o'clock for me, obviously. We start for 24 hours to raise for charity. Just Giving pages out there. If you want to go check it out, I will be doing a load of stuff on my Instagram. So go and check out Instagram. Much love to every single one of you. Spread the love. Be nice to each other. On that note, thank you very much.